The role of celebrity is really changing. At first, when we started TheAudience, an influencer was really someone that had existed in traditional media and that was now starting to embark upon telling their story inside of social systems. But now, 3 years later, what we're really seeing is that there is a whole crop of people that natively grew up inside of Facebook and Tumblr and Twitter. And so we see the rise of a whole new class of artists that we call an influencer. And these people have incredible reach, whether it's Acacia Brindley, who has 1.3 million followers on Instagram, or Nash Greer with 6.5 million on Vine, or Josh Peck on Vine with 4.4 million. You know, this is a new era of people that can talk directly to an audience, can influence decisions, can support brands and products, whether they're entertainment or consumer goods, and that have a tremendous amount of reach and power right now inside of this social media ecosystem.
Gary, Oliver just talked about the importance of growing up natively on a platform like Tumblr, for example, or Twitter. Do you agree?
Sure. I'm a product of it. I grew up natively on YouTube.
But hang on a second. That means that this can only be acquired genetically.
Correct.
Effectively. It can't be learned environmentally. And if you didn't, if you're too old, you're SOL?
No. I think old is the default that people go to. It's old in behavior and understanding and actions. It's not old in your age. There's plenty of people that popped. I mean, being on YouTube in 2006 like I was, the early stars, a bunch of them were in their 40s. Like, people don't remember this. There was several people that were popping. And so Oliver's right. Look, we're living in a world now where exposure is fragmented. And so, look, a year ago, I started an agency to only represent Vine celebrities called Grape Story. And so Jerome Jarre, Nicholas McGallis, these people have enormous reach, and there's a big difference between them. And I'd love to hear what Oliver has to say, because he's dealing with traditional celebrities, ones that have done commercials and other things in the past. And so every time you do promote, there's a little bit of an equity loss, where a lot of these new fresh faces are having an upside, but then they promote too much and there's an equity loss. And it's a really interesting dynamic. But the day of look, video killed the radio star.
One of my all-time favorite songs.
Vine,
so you know.
Vine killed the television star. Blah, 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 blah. These dynamics are in play. He's 100% right.
Oliver?
Yeah. You know, Gary, I agree completely with what you're saying. You absolutely are an influencer inside of the world that we live in. What's interesting is that we're seeing, right now, we're behind, in the last 30 days, we're behind the #1 movie in the world, the #1 business book in the world, the #1 dance song in the world, and the #1 viral ad in the world. And the common denominator among all of those phenomena is that influencers played an enormous role in pushing out and connecting the dots between great content. Gary, you talk all the time about great storytelling. We always say to brands right now is great storytelling only goes so far. They have to be aware of it. If a tree falls on the internet, nobody hears it. And so you need a group of people that can push it out there, like yourself. Exactly.
And look,
so,
and that's one tactic.
Extraordinarily
There's paid,
powerful.
That's right. There's that, and Oliver's right. There's paid tactics, smart paid advertisement. There's a lot of ways to light the match, but influencers will always be part of that process.
But something that came to mind when, Oliver, you were just talking is measurement, right? You say you're behind all of these #1 things. I judge #1 by how much money it makes. Ultimately, that's what's most important. So when we're talking about #1, is that how is that measured? By tweets, by followers, by what?
Selfie. Sure. So it starts. Measurement starts really with the concept of how many people did it reach. Who are those people? Are they the right people? All of these platforms that we're living inside of now have a tremendous amount of back-end data. But then it moves into sales, right? It's to be #1, it means you're selling something. And so it's extraordinarily easy to quantify it. And so, Selfie from the Chainsmokers, it's on its way to be a platinum single. that means that it will have sold 1 million units. And so there is no debating now the power of these influencers that you're seeing inside of this video.
We're looking at this selfie video right now, but for these artists, what does it take to go from, listen, selfie's amazing, but when I look at it, it makes me think, is this a one-hit wonder? How do you take these flashes of fantastic and make them sustainable?
Well, look, from a one-hit wonder standpoint, these artists that we're working with are extraordinarily talented.
Yeah, but there are so many talented artists.
Hold on. Let me get in here, Oliver.
But there are not that many people that get this amount of attention.
Yes, and let's be honest, one-hit wonders happened in the real world too. Like, you didn't know if NSYNC was going to be a one-hit wonder, and Justin Timberlake actually had the talent. We shouldn't.
Excuse me, I knew they were.
Well, you knew, but you know, Oliver's right. I mean, look, we should not be held to different standards in digital and social that we don't do in traditional. I'm going to tell you right now, and nobody wants to talk about this, it's a hell of a lot easier for Oliver and I, with the data that we get from these kind of things, to measure the actual business results than getting an ad in Bloomberg's magazine or on their TV show. Traditional media, my friends, does not quantify back to a sale as easy as digital does. We've accepted the math by companies like Nielsen's that drive this reporting that has been the dark ages of 80 years of traditional media, but the new stuff is very quantifiable. Those videos that Oliver's making can easily have a call to action at the end of the day, and you can see the quantifiable evidence. There is not a single place where I work with Fortune 500 companies where we have a place to do a direct sales attribution that digital and social isn't easier to quantify the ROI than traditional.
Oliver, do companies understand this, or do they hire the likes of you and Gary out of fear?
Well, no, I don't think it's out of fear. I think that smart CEOs, exactly. We're going on tour together. I think that what happens is that smart CEOs are starting to realize that a big tidal wave has just washed through. And there are a lot of pieces that we have to put together. And so if a CEO understands that they need to be a publisher, you know, look at some of the work we're doing right now with someone like Delia's, right? A 20-year-old brand, a consumer brand for young women, and we've now introduced influencers into it, and we're starting to see a huge uptick in interaction, in 600,000 new young women going to their store over the last 3 months online. We're converting them from a catalog into an Instagram business where you have these amazing influencers. So we're seeing absolute tangible results from companies like Ford and Delia's and others, and in the concert space that are 100% ROI return.